Good evening, everybody. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before I ask for approval of the agenda from the board, I request a little change from the normal agenda protocol. Mr. Brett Hill request.
If you think they'll ever announce, we hope that.
Good evening. Before I ask for approval of the agenda, change from the normal procedure and format of the agenda, request board approval for the change. Brett Hill would like to speak to both the board and the membership, to provide additional information and some clarity to this discussion this evening. I'll ask for board approval. Any in favor?
Yes.
Can we get a little more detail on exactly what that means?
I think he wants to clear up some misconceptions that we've been getting in our emails and information and feedback from the membership. And I think he just, or public comments are made, there is some misconceptions that he just wants to clear up.
When I emailed you all that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure from the parliamentarians, are we violating any Robert's Rules of Order by Justin? Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the board can approve doing it. Majority. I guess I don't.
Can you hear you, Dave?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The board can agree to do it. That's the bottom line. If to modify the agenda, can have the
Mike's not on.
okay. Okay, right, but everybody has it. Yeah, I believe that Robert's rules will allow the majority of, if we have a board majority that wants Brett to speak, but I don't know what exactly Brett is going to say or how long he's going to take to say it.
Greg, want to explain?
I just want to, and I can read verbatim to clarify the statement, the email that I sent to all the directors today based on the information provided by the county plus that.
That's part of the discussion process. That should be held until we get a discussion.
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, I read through that fairly quickly, but I didn't have time to digest it. Did you read it? No, I didn't fully understand what the implications were.
I think it's just to provide information to the membership before they come up and have the public comments, in case some of the comments they make be able to, well, give them information.
How long, Brett? 5 minutes? 10 minutes?
2 minutes. There's one page that I emailed you that I believe is relevant information before we enter discussion.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Call the vote. All in favor?
All right.
Pat?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed? Okay, 4-3. I now request approval of the agenda from the board. All in favor of the agenda as amended? Say aye.
Aye.
Pat?
Pat?
I just want to be sure that I have the correct agenda. The only agenda item is the discussion of the yacht club change.
Operational changes at the Oasis Pool Monthly Planning, yes.
Okay. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hill?
Directors, yesterday Colby reached out to Worcester County to confirm stories publicized on social websites, which I followed up with Jennifer here this morning to receive the following information from Worcester County. As I shared with you previously, I met with Jennifer on October 12th and then with Ed Tudor on November 3rd, December 19th, all surrounding the yacht club area. Not once was I provided any of this information, which I had attached to the email today, and it's extremely disappointing to see the county provided it to a resident, not the association. Nevertheless, all this publicity around the pool caused the county to examine our operations, and they are now stating that it can stay open until 7 p.m. at the pool, but the pool cannot open until 10 a.m. With this information, I am adding two elements to the conversation regarding this tonight. Given the extra hour that the county now says that we're allowed to operate, I'm proposing from the general manager's side that family hours be shifted to 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Sundays. This would be in line with the same hours allocated in the past. Additionally, I still say there's a strong case for Sunday over Wednesday, as Family Fun Night was strongly attended by our year-round families who have time jobs at these later hours during the week because of work. I would propose that this be the plan until the time we could be granted a variance in hours to go later, again during the week. As I stated, I already had 3 meetings with the county on this. There are still many open violations to our current variance, and Ed Tudor, in his conversations with me, believed there was not much of a chance of us moving anything further. However, I recommend that I set up another meeting with Ed Tudor and Jennifer Keener to discuss the variance, after which I can provide feedback to the board and we can decide whether or not to apply for a variance and assess the risks associated with that, Brett. And I had forwarded an email from Jennifer Keener to the board below that, which Jennifer stated, Brett, I received your voicemail from earlier today. I thought it would be easier to forward you all the correspondence and documentation that outlines the history of this property on our records. Please see the correspondence below with the attachments. The yacht club pool hours of operations were listed from Memorial Day to Labor Day, 7 days per week, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Labor Day to the end of September, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekends only. The Mumford's Landing pool was listed as to Labor Day, 7 days per week, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And she states, as I'm sure you're aware, we've received multiple phone calls regarding Family Fun Night, keeping the yacht open until 8 p.m. Some people are asking for clarification. Others are upset that the county is not allowing it. Since no request for modifications have been made, I can't speak to whether it be allowed or not. And in addition, I've been advised this morning that the yacht club pool, now called the Oasis Pool, has been open from 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. to swim only. It's listed on the Oceanside website as well. This was not part of the original approval and will require additional review and approval by administrative hearing officials. Jennifer Keener.
Okay, thank you. Before I have public comments, I would just like to mention that public comments for special meetings are limited specifically to the item or items on the agenda strictly. Also, no negative comments are allowed.
No negative comments. Person.
Exactly.
You can say what you want about him.
Public comments? Ma'am, please state your name and address.
I will. Elaine Brady, 812 Yacht Club Drive. And I would like at this time to a copy of an email I sent to the board this morning regarding comments that were inappropriately made about myself and Sharon Ayer on the Ocean Pines Forum, accusing us of trying to incite this
Comments for the special meeting are to the topic, the operational changes to the pool.
Then I will get to that right now. So rather than trying to deflect from what happened earlier, I would hope members of this board are able to focus on the real issue. I do not fall into either of the categories that has been cited as not being represented by the board or by the group here who wants to keep that pool open. I'm in the 2/3 category of adults who enjoy a Sunday afternoon. I don't hate children. I love children. I come from a large family. I take my children to the pool, my grandkids to the pool. But when I want to go read a book and have a relaxing afternoon, a quiet conversation with my
I do that at the yacht club pool, and there are 4 pools within the confined Ocean Pond. That means that the 2/3 demographic that was noted by our GM in a letter, public letter today, services, the 2/3 serviced by 75% of adults, and the 1/3 of adults over 65 are serviced by only 25%. So there really isn't an unfairness. However, in reading a lot of the comments on the subject, it seems to me that the families aren't as concerned about a particular as much as they would like to have better amenities at some of their pools. They should have the option to have better choices, beverages. It is tough to pack lunches for children while you're packing your other stuff. Certainly, an option is readily available at Mumford Landing. It is just at the other end of the parking lot from the yacht. Easily, a golf cart runs every half hour to pick up order tickets and that. It's a very easy solution. There is more food, thankfully, available at Swim and Racket, and some measure of food choice should be made available at Port as well. I mean, we'd like to see the families enjoy them, but it doesn't mean that that time should be taken away from the adults. Just as we're settling in for the day, should we now be removed from the yacht club pool, and the children who are settled in, having a good time at Swim and Racket, removed from there, have to get on their bicycles, pedal down Ocean Parkway to now go to the yacht club pool or have their parents pick them up? It to me, is just a ridiculous. I was very surprised to find that Ford had not already applied for a variance and been denied before making such a suggestion. It really is kind of very disappointing that that was not done, trying to really create such a divine invitation, which is probably what I find most upset with, is that all of these people in the room that enjoy the quiet time at that Ocean Pines pool love children. They have families. They would like to see the amenities improved and supported them with their association dollars, with recreation, additional recreation choices they give. I love hearing the kids' laughter in my neighborhood. There are more kids in my neighborhood now than there have ever been. And it is just really very disappointing for those of us who have messaged them to be portrayed as not wanting to help support families.
Next, ma'am.
Kathy Brennan. I've been in Ocean Pines as I have 32 Cape Town and at Point. I have been in Ocean Pines full-time since 2010 when I retired, and part-time as weekend warrior from 1984. One of the things that started me here and one of the things that kept me here to buy a second home was the fact that, I guess it's called the Oasis. I love that because that's what we're talking about. It is an oasis for adults. We like that pool. Everybody, right? Don't we like it? That's the way it is. Now I have 5 grandkids who come and visit. And I take them to Mumford's. Sometimes we go to Swim and Racket. Not too often to the sports core pool. But the point of it is when I want to be, as this lady said about reading a book, I don't read a lot of books, but I like to yak, and I like to yak with the other people at the Oasis pool. So I'm upset about this because I think we have a lot of amenities for families. I really do. And I don't know what the demographic is anymore. Used to be retirees were a lot more than young families. Maybe that's increased now. I don't know for sure. You all would know that better than I. but I think we have a lot of amenities for families to use. I suspect that the adults with the small children that want to come to the Oasis pool would also like to drink while their kids are in the pool. And I get that, okay? But it's not what I want to do. I do not want to leave. Once I get situated, I do not want to get up and leave. I think that we're not asking a lot of you all. I think we're asking you to maintain the Oasis pool for adults for the entire summer, for just adults. The family fun nights on Wednesday nights, okay, I could deal with that. But on Sunday, it's crazy. We have people, we have older individuals that just come down for the weekend. And they may not even be here to voice their concerns, so I'll speak for them too, because I was one of them for a while. I would have thrown a hissy fit if I had driven all the way down and then had to get up and leave on a Sunday to have a family fun night. Anyway, I've talked enough. I hope you will change your mind, because I think if you don't, you're going to have a lot of anger. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Paula Gray. I live at 88 Windjammer, and I have only been in the Pines for 11 months. One of the reasons that we decided to retire here was because of the amenities. I had a son who rented here for many years. I am very distressed because you talk about the elderly and the seniors as one group of all retired people. Knock, knock, I work. Okay, my time with my husband on the weekends is very valuable to me, and it's very limited. We spend our time, and we found out, we tried the other pools, we ended up at the Oasis. Why did we end up there? We live on Windjammer, all the way on the north side. The pool closest to us does not have very good stairs and steps to get into the pool. One end of it is very deep, which would preclude a lot of seniors from even being in it. When you come down a ramp, it's kind of deep. We had to move because I had to physically stand between my husband and children cannonballing into the, that's him back there, to keep him from being jumped upon because of his shoulder surgery. I am very, very distressed as a new resident to feel that the feelings of everyone in this community seem to go aside towards one particular group of people. My husband's an umpire. We have kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, and 2 rescue dogs. We're not unfriendly. But one of the reasons we came here is it gave us that little tiny bit of privacy and adulthood. The staircase, if you've been at the Oasis, is very great. It lets me get in and out as well. I also did not like, personal aside, that older people don't tip as well. We need to be somewhere else. Please don't say that. Okay, you generalize this. There are a lot of us who work. We run into each other all over the place. And because of that, we need that quiet time, that time to step away from all the demands on us, times to keep our people safe from not being, it might not seem much, but when you're I'm 70. If you cannonball on me, I'm going to be hurt. All right, and that was just, we really need to look at that. I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to stop. But what we need to do is really look at our population, the real population. A lot of the seniors in this community work. We run into each other all the time at the Dunkin' Donuts on the way to work and on the way home. And we work, and we need that time. I appreciate the fact that younger people would, maybe younger people would like to be closer to the bar. Maybe the resource is to get a bar at some of the other places. Not my problem. I don't want to have to protect my husband in order to get into it. Please really look at what you're doing here and try to look at the whole community. Don't think everyone's retired, sitting home watching Oprah and showing up at the pool when it doesn't matter. It's important. I don't have many years left with him, and I really don't want to have to be protecting him from harm just to take a swim. Thank you.
I respectfully request everyone limit their comments to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Well, I would point out, in Yeah,
This doesn't count my 5.
but I think hopefully you will all respect the fact that we're starting at 7 o'clock. I would also remind the people in this room that we receive, I'm going to make a guess at 60 emails, most of them protesting. You think it was higher?
100 plus.
Maybe 100 plus.
Yeah,
I
better know.
I couldn't figure out. And we've heard a lot of the comments that basically are against this move. So I wish we would respect that, see if we can get out of here at a reason, and also get the business done, which I think you want done. So think about that.
My name is Anthony Smith. I live at 32 Boatswain Drive. First, I'd like to thank the board for hosting this special meeting. We believe it's needed. I've been a property owner in Ocean Pines on and off since 1981. To the best of my knowledge, this is the first special meeting we've had as a result of actions taken by a general manager. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Also, I'd like to make one other statement about the people gathered here tonight. It's a shame, in my opinion, that all these people have to be here for this. Board has to be here for this because of unilateral and inconsiderate actions taken by one person. Institution that's been in place for almost 50 years that many people feel very strongly about has been changed without discussion with the board, without any conversation of property owners that paid to build it just a couple of years ago, right? I believe that the board of directors and the property owners of Ocean Pines have been insulted because we have not been consulted, and obviously our opinions do not count. They should count. We paid for it. To me, it appears very strongly that an agenda is in play here that has not been discussed with the owners or with the board of directors. And that since that agenda has not been shared with any of us, it can only be referred to as a hidden agenda. If we're going to turn the yacht club into a playground with goofy pirate ships, kids swimming around on Sunday afternoon, taking up space in the pool that's already very crowded on Sundays if you haven't been there, right? Then maybe we need to rethink that. Maybe that agenda needs to be shared with the people and not discussed in the dark, which is what's happened here. So we have a secret agenda now at play, a secret hidden agenda. And people that paid for the pool are being asked to suffer because of agenda, one person. In my opinion, it's very clear that the current pretend general manager does not have the social acumen or the business acumen or the common consideration for his neighbors.
Point of order. Point of order. Point of order. You're making personal remarks, and that is specifically prohibited.
Let me say it another way. I believe Mr. Hill should be removed from the position that he's currently in, and I believe that the board is going to do their duty, should take action in that process tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Harborman, 15 Herman Isle, Fort Wood, Duck. I understand that all this is about the young families wanting a bar. I don't ever remember hiring a babysitter and saying, make sure they have enough beer. I never took my child to a pool or the beach and made sure I had alcohol with me. That's the time to just be watching.
Hi, everybody. Happy Easter. Hi, everybody. I thank the board for doing this special meeting. My concern is the country club. I'm not talking about the other things. What happened is the elevator is horrible. Are we allowed to say that?
Ma'am, please, the only item on the agenda tonight about the Oasis, the Oasis pool.
Okay, I can't speak on any other issue. Oh, I'm sorry.
Madam, at the regular board meeting, please come and speak.
Yeah, I always do, but what?
Thanks, you know.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't hear from you.
My name is Sharon Healy. I live at 107 Robin Hood. The Oasis pool has long been an adult-only pool. Apparently, that's all it's ever been, although I didn't know that. It's ideal for our older population to access the water utilizing the steps. Those of us using the pool do not have to worry about kids jumping into the pool on top of our heads, which happened to me at the sports playing ball, swimming without paying attention, and if the reasoning behind the opening pool to the families is to enable the adults to drink or listen to music, that isn't a good enough reason. And if you're going to do that, then you need to raise our lifeguard salaries for being babysitters, because that's what they're going through. Utilize common sense. If you're going to move us, why not move them? Get a variance, whatever variances you need. That's it. Why penalize the adults who enjoy the pool on the weekends by allowing family access at the time that I wrote this, it was 2 p.m., now it's 4, on Sunday, which is a prime time for us to use the pool? You'll argue that you're setting aside a different pool for adult use only. Is there enough deck space to accommodate us? Is there safe access into the pool? Stationary steps, not the rickety ones that used to be in use at the sports pool. I know there's always room for change, but why change something that isn't broken? I am requesting that the board please reconsider this. I know you weren't consulted, and apparently from what I read in the paper today, you did not have to be consulted. I hope this turns into something that does require board approval. I think the majority of the people here, people that were not here, didn't come, maybe didn't know about the meeting. I think probably the majority of us feel the same way. I understand that we have families. When my grandchildren come down, I take them to the swimming racket club. I don't even consider taking them to the yacht club. I don't want to take them to the yacht club. That's for adults.
Charles Hines, 29 Pinehurst Road.
Can't hear you. Speak up.
Dr. Charles Hines, 29 Pinehurst Road. Hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, doctor.
Been down here since 1992, 25 years. Let me tell you a little story, less than a minute. In 1974, I was camping at Asti, motorhome with my children, and we read in the paper where if you went on a tour of Ocean Times, Boise Cascade at the time would give you $100 cash
and one of those thick entertainment packed the kids up, brought them over, stopped at the yacht club, and at the particular time, that was an adult pool, 1974. By the way, they lost money that year too. I didn't pay too much attention to it, but I think what I'm hearing here tonight is a lot of nice, but I think we have to direct something to Tom, and as being the president of the board. You quoted in the paper that Brett was operating within his guidelines, within his responsibilities of a GM. I think you need an asterisk. I think you need to put something in there that labels someone as an interim GM or acting GM, and then maybe clarify what kind of decisions he can make. Obviously, he's done a lot of good things, and he should be respected for that. But on the other hand, when he's looking at a major decision, at least on Sunday afternoons, I think he needs to sit down with the board and get an opinion. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Debbie Bloom at 65 Martin Circle. And all I request of the board is to please listen to us. And if the children need a fun night, move them to the racket, sports, whatever that's called. Leave us alone. It's quiet there. We like there. We like to talk to each other. We don't want kids jumping on it. I like to go early in the morning and I stay all day. I stay till 5 or 6 o'clock. And I don't want to go somewhere else. I like the view. I like seeing Ocean City in the distance. I don't want ocean. I've never been to that. No, I go to that. I go to our indoor pools. So please consider us. And you might want to just ask us, if you don't want all of us talking, stand up for support or against.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yes, and I will ask the audience if they would like to stand if they're in support.
I support a family fun night.
Who's in support of the operating hours of the pool without bringing the kids on Sunday, based on the recommendation?
Disrespectful you are. We've sat here and listened to everyone else say.
Excuse me, it's not public comments right
You
now.
don't have a floor.
Then walk up
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead, stand up.
Go up and talk. We're going to know why you want one right there. Whoa, this lady's right now.
Don't say it's for alcohol.
Which one? What song, sir? The woman in the back there.
So, Tracy?
No, that woman right there. Ma'am, did you want to come up and speak?
Donna Brennan, 19 Mallard Drive, Duck 2. We have lived here full-time since 2013. We bought in 2012. One of the reasons we like this is the yacht club. We have paid the annual membership. 2 adults, $580, which is a lot more for us because we don't have anybody else to take the pool because we're suffering because we don't have the additional 4 kids we could add to it. We don't get anything extra except the Oasis. You know, a lot has been said here about maybe opening or asking for variances in the other pools. I think that's a great idea. As far as the swim and racket pool, we took hydrocycle there last summer. The flies ate us adults alive. There's not enough deck space for chairs. And all the adults that come on Sundays. One of the articles I read said that when you guys were doing your analysis, or Brett was doing his analysis, there weren't that many swipes on Sundays. Well, you know, half the time when we go up there on Sunday, the computer doesn't work.
Yes.
They write down hashtags.
there's your cake.
Our adult pool is not for 55 plus, 65 plus. I think it's 18.
Yeah,
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So adults are 18 and up. It's not just our white hair, but they enjoy it. And I think that consideration should be given. You know, I've worked in negotiations for years, and once you let the snakes head in the tent, you lose everything. It's the first step in the adults in the community losing their access to the adult.
Neil Cawthorn, 524 Yacht Club Drive. The community here in Ocean Pines voted to build the new yacht club, and not for the kids. We voted to spend $5 million on a new yacht club and a new pool. There was nothing in it about allowing children. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got something to say.
I tried it. And so I also patient. I'm Nancy Carter. I live at 41 Bird Nest. I'm a swim club member. I have been at every pool in the community, so I know what each pool is like. I enjoy the dogs at Mumford. Please don't take that away from us here. I went to the swim and racket club pool today to walk around to see, and I know what it's like inside. Here's an issue that has not been discussed yet, and that is the parking situation at the swim and racket club. You put the seniors there. The parking is around the corner. You have to go up this hill and down the hill. There's some parking over by the tennis court. It is awkward. I had back surgery less than a year ago, and for me, that was difficult to walk up and down. That's another issue with us that have had surgeries. Being in the swimming pool is one of the best things for if you have back problems, balance problems, those types of issues, and getting in and out of the yacht club pool is the best thing. I've been at the swim and racket club pool. It's very difficult to have a back issue or balance issue to get out of the pool. I would like to make a suggestion that someone else mentioned. The Mumford pool. That's a nice pool for the children. Cater. You want to have a family fun night? Have some catering from the yacht club brought over. It doesn't even have to be a golf cart. Just bring it all over to the pool. It's a beautiful pool for a family fun night. It's catered. You're going to make the money that way. And the issue of drinking, I was a lifeguard when I was young. I have been swimming all my life. My children have been swimming all their lives. I never want to see alcohol with a swimming pool.
Yep.
It's a dangerous thing. I really wish you would reconsider using the Oasis Club and reconsider having alcohol with children at a swimming pool. The adults can drink when they're at home or somewhere else, but please don't do it at the swimming pool. I have been at the swimming pool during the summer at the Oasis, and on Sundays it is crowded. My husband cannot be in the sun because he's had cancer on his face, and we try to get there early so we can get an umbrella. Well, if you don't get there early, there's no umbrellas. There's no chairs. There's no lounge chairs. You have to take 2 chairs sometimes just to make it a lounge chair so you're comfortable and can sit and read. The pool is crowded. The people in the pool are enjoying themselves, talking to each other, enjoying the water, and it is crowded, and it's true. We've been over there many times when that computer system is not working. And I mean, my husband could have come in sometimes. He doesn't pay the right amount because they don't know. He can't read his card. So I don't know how they could say that on Sundays it's not crowded. It is. We go a lot during the day. I love to swim, and I really wish to do it as an adult pool. Thank you. I didn't want to talk, but I gotta tell you folks, I lived in Myrtle Beach before I came here. And I'm here, amount of folks, by the way, Section 10, I forgot to tell you. But anyway, my girlfriend invited me to come to see her here. And I thought she lived in New Jersey, Ocean City. When I called for directions, she said, no, it's in Maryland. I said, no, I never saw it before. Well, anyway, I came into Myrtle Beach. I mean to Ocean Pines. She took me all around. I fell in love with it. But this was great. So I went into the yacht club, and I saw the pool, and I just said, this is where I want to live. And I'm here almost 40 years now, I guess. We have our bridge club that comes at the pool. We play bridge. We have to come early and put a towel around so we have a table so we can play bridge because nobody bothers us. That's what I miss if you change it, because that's a wonderful place. And I went the next day. I didn't tell my husband. And I bought property for a month. He didn't know about it. And one day when he was in a good mood, I said, I bought property. What? I said, I pay cash for it. That's where we're going to live. He said, what? So that's why I said I walked in that yacht club. I fell in love with it. And Ocean Pines, and I love it here. Please don't change it.
Sharon O'Hare, 216 Mumford's Landing Road. First of all, I know what a tough job it is setting up their trust center. Secondly, I thank all of you for coming. This is fact. I am accused of rabble-rousing and getting all my friends to support my feelings. Well, that's not true. I don't even know half or more. But I do want to say this. Brett, you and I sat down at Art Carmine's retirement party with Colby at tape, and you told me what you were going to do, and I said, right then and there is a bad decision on Sunday. It's the busiest day that we have, Saturday and Sunday. Would not listen. I sent an email to the board when I found out about the change. I got more responses back. And I found out then the board didn't even know. Now, you knew back at that time we sat at that table together at our Carmine's thing. I didn't share it with you. So what I'm saying is your job and responsibility as acting GM is to work with your board and work with this community. And this community has a very strong feeling here. We are not against children. We have never said we're against children. But you are dividing this community, and I don't respect you for that. That's not fair.
There, Colby, Debbie, sitting at the table in March retirement, and I told you, and originally I said that we were looking at 1 p.m., and you told me, well, you know, if it was 3 o'clock, maybe I could be okay with it, but 1, it's too busy, and I said, well, I'll split the difference with you, and we'll move it to 2, and that's what I did. Now I'm today sitting here and saying, looking at the hours, and now that we can get the extra hours, we'll go to 4 p.m., which fits within what you said you were okay with.
No, I said it was a bad idea.
But you said it dies down in the afternoon, and after 3 it would be okay. And there were 2 other people sitting there with the Sharon.
Your board didn't know. That's important.
That's the problem.
It's the board.
That's the problem.
My name is Joan Watt. I live at 11 Surf Place in Ocean Pines. I've been here since 1999. I wrote each of you an email stating my position on the yacht club pool having the Sunday hours. So you know my position on that, along with other positions that you've heard. But also standing here, I noticed some of the people said they didn't want to be there and have to get up and change, which leads me to believe that Brett may then decide, well, we'll just make it an all-day children at the yacht club and keep the other people all day at the swim and racquetball club. So I just want to say to you, While I didn't bring that up in my email, I still feel the same way. The yacht club should stay in the adult pool and not be turned over to children. Thank you.
Ted Maroney, 17 Clipper Court. My problem with this is the process. Mr. Hill said tonight he had 3 meetings in 2016 and they just discovered that the hours were till 7 p.m. I heard about this in February, sent an email to the county, and on March 1st, got the entire packet back that spelled out the hours. All we needed to do is to simply apply for a 1-hour variance. If that failed, then come back and say, what's the next step? And the real question here is this board, whether it's de jure allowed or not, you have a de facto fiduciary responsibility to know what's going on in this community and changes that are being made in this community and discuss them before they go on. It's just a matter of communication. And, you know, it spreads to other things. I'm not going to talk about those tonight. We'll let the filing with the Attorney General speak to that. But the real question here is, and I think Brett's done a whole lot of good stuff, but there has to be communication, and you have to start thinking about it. A 1-hour variance, and we would be sitting here tonight. An attempt at a 1-hour variance and then saying it didn't work, we'll discuss other things. So, board members, you need to make sure that Brett, as one of your partners, is communicating with you ahead of time, and you're kicking it back to the community. It's real simple. You didn't have to be here. Thank you.
We're in a position here which is pretty unique to this association in the fact that we do not have full-time general manager. Mr. Hill.
It's not our fault.
No, I understand that. I'm not putting blame on anybody. I don't want to point fingers and put blame, but I want the community to understand that this gentleman has a full-time job and a family, and he's donating hours and hours and hours of time in the goodness to help this community. And no, he's not here all the time. And it's difficult for me sometimes as a liaison to the board that he's not available at a whim, like a full-time general manager would be. And there are some issues, and all I'm asking to you is to understand that it's a different situation that we're in right now, and it's not a perfect world.
It's been 8 months.
Tom, the reality is what you're saying leads us to say that's why you need more communication. He's not here full time. He ought to be talking to you and bouncing stuff off. You're making the case for what we're saying. Okay? So the idea is he needs more help.
This isn't a debate. And if it is a debate, I'd like to join. I mean, the papers that I have back here from the county are dated 2012. There was one heck of a lot of catch-up that had to be done with the agreements that were made by our former general
3 days,
manager.
Dave. 3 days. The 28th, see the email? I'll send it to you tonight. 28th, got a response from Jennifer Kerner on the 31st. All 4 documents. All we had to do was ask for them last October.
I'd like to ask the indulgence of the group to return back to the meeting agenda.
Thank you.
Can I ask this young man be able to
let him stay.
I need to sit down and wait. Don't want to think because he's young, we're all going to shout him down.
Emmett McGovern, 17th grade. I really just came out here to voice support for the return of Family Fun Night, at least some time for the kids to be at the swimming racket, or not at the swimming racket, but at the yacht club. Well, my son's a teenager now, and I'm here for no other reason than to support the past and the good times that we had as a family. It was a very special time, and those kids really, really enjoyed, those 3 hours that they had at the pool on Wednesday night. It would be really sad if they didn't get an opportunity to go back. That's it.
Flax. I live at 37 Wood Duck Drive and bought our park here in 2000. That's my husband, Don. I'm kind of half thinking, and I agree what you say about volunteer hours, and I personally know about them and with the association, although you may not know that. Has anyone else here ever volunteered for Ocean Pines? Can you all stand up? I mean, there's a lot of volunteer hours that go into what goes on in the Ocean Pines, and I think it would just like for, I agree, there's a lot of things that have changed, and a lot of them are very good, and thank you for that. But there's a lot of things that I think deserve discussion, and history's not all bad, and we should learn from it.
Pat Rathman, John. While I don't agree with this, while I don't agree with the decision that you made with the Oasis pool, all of us here would just like to know the reasoning behind why you've chosen. We're all in support of the Family Fun Night for the children, but why you have chosen to move to the Sports and Racquetball pool, why you now are also adding a Family Fun Night at the Oasis pool when we're all in support for the Family Fun Night, but why you're taking it away from and giving it to the Oasis pool, why we're having it at the Oasis pool if you're already having it at the Sports and Racquetball Club. What is the reason behind you're having it at the Sports and Racket and now at the Oasis pool?
Ma'am, that should be answered during this board discussion with the general manager. Thank you.
Really? Hi, Susan Adams, 4 Harlan Trace. My husband and I moved here at the end of the summer. We largely based the decision to come here, Pennsylvania, based on the recreational opportunities here in Ocean Pines. Specifically chose where we moved to based on walking distance that for ourselves and our guests. I think I have some unique perspective in that I've been coming here since I was 10 years old. I was a child and I spent entire summers here by the time I was 17. So I know what it's like to be at Ocean Pines. We had ample opportunity, and we didn't have the abundance of other swimming facilities that are current. So the number of recreational facilities that are currently available here for families and children, which I support, are way more than when I was here. And we had ample opportunities to do the Swim and Racket Club, very vibrant place. At any point in time, there was an active snack bar, and there'd be a huge table of kids and families. It's not present there because we don't have the activity and the food choices and an active somebody preparing food. When I ran the demographics, now they said this was up to date as of April 17, 2015, so a little bit dated. Based on that, I took the age groups of age 5 to 9 and 10 to 14, which I think is, the 10 to 14, you're kind of stretching it for Family Fun Night. I think it's younger, but I'm including that in those. That represented 6.75% of the population of Ocean Pines. Versus, if you look at the ages between 45 and 62, which I represent as a working adult, that was 29%. So as a working adult, I work and I do not have opportunities now. Plan on using the pool from 6 to 7 Monday to Friday. Now that's not available. So now I have Saturdays and Sundays to look at, and now you're taking away good that. Plus, when I came here the few times when we moved here at the end of the summer, they also moved you out of the yacht club in preparation for it. I'm like, can I stay here while you're preparing for it? No, out of here. So, I mean, it's the better part of the day. So I'm here to represent working adults and with a perspective of having been a child work. And I really think, given the close proximity among the I really don't think that we need to exclude adults. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Helen Curley at 7510 Yacht Club Drive. And I just want to say, it didn't just start with the ship. A couple of years ago, if you will recall, we had white lounges at the yacht club, and they were taller, and you could sit on them and you could get up. Oh, yeah. And suddenly, the white lounges were all gone. They put them up at the indoor pool. And so the seniors who had trouble getting up and getting down, they couldn't get on those low lounges anymore. So all we had left to sit in was chairs. And we could never get the white lounges back, although we asked for them, but we just were good little lambs and we sat in chairs. I'll leave you with 2 words. Marco Polo.
I'm Edith Vogel. I live at 690 Ocean Parkway. Lived here in the Pines since '97. Have been teaching water aerobics here for approximately a dozen years. One of the classes I teach is called creep joints. I have a lot of people that are post-surgery that cannot walk properly. And for this reason alone, I advocate that you allow them to go to the Oasis. One of the major reasons I'm against the Swim and Racket Club is the parking, the getting to it and the getting in it. The walkways that go to the pool from the parking lot are a disaster waiting to happen. I had one of my ladies almost fall down. The walkway is cracked, it's chipped, it should have been fixed 10 years ago, but nobody's been paying any attention to it. If I fall, Ocean Pines will pay. And I'm going to leave you with that, okay? Do not send my seniors to the Swim and Racket Club. Thank you.
Ken Waters, 27 Birdnest Drive. My wife and I have had a home here since '99, full-time since 2009. And this issue with the pool, my main concern was the process that was followed, that there was no process followed. And it also seemed to me like it was a solution in search of a problem. I had no idea we had such a major problem servicing, kids and families. I hadn't heard about the issue. So I look at all the other issues facing our association, such as losing money, whatever. And this seems to me like a distraction. I really don't know why we're doing this, why this was such a big thing, and then why there was no research done, which is obvious by all the comments. Thank you.
Sure. How you doing? My name is Jim Richards. At 1233 Carrollton Lane. I don't have a dog in the fight because I don't use the pools. We live here with the grandkids come down, we'll take them over, something like that. I just don't see what the whole problem is. You have an adult pool. Why it just can't be for the adults? If you have your family fun night, fun nights go at night, 6 to 9 or something like that, under the lights, under the stars, have a good time. 7 o'clock, it seems like it really doesn't work. And he's saying it's because families work and they can't get to the pool and stuff like that. You have all week. Every time I go by one of the pools, there's always families there. It always seems like it's family fun day every. And if it's just for the alcohol and you want people to drink while their kids are there and stuff like that, and the people have to drink for those couple of hours so they can enjoy their kids, it's definitely a problem. I think you really need to reconsider it, leave the adult pool the way it is. You know, there's other pools around, Mumford Landing, which is just as close. You know, just have the kids and families there. Extend those hours, but make it later than 7 o'clock. Make it till 9 o'clock, 8, 9 o'clock. So that the families can really go and have a good time, spend some time. That's it.
My name is Robert Brennan. I live at 19 Mallers Drive West. My wife's Holland, but I want to elaborate on a couple of things. This whole idea of coming up with fun night for the children at the adult pool is not a good idea for the simple reason. Saturday and Sundays, that pool is packed. We go up on Saturday and Sundays, unless you're there early, you don't get to see. And people stay late. They like to stay late. The idea of going over to swim and racket, when I'm there at the adult pool, they're not ordering pizza or a hot dog. They're ordering salads and everything that comes off the menu from the yacht club. You can't provide that at the swim and racket. You're talking about getting, I read in the paper, applying for a beer and wine license. People don't want just beer and wine license. They like to go enjoy a drink. They don't have to worry about their kids, but if you, with all the adults wanting to go up there, they start drinking, the lifeguards become babies.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that I've noticed here, everybody keeps saying that Brett has done a lot of good here, but Brett is still a member of the board. He was voted in to the board. Therefore, any decisions he makes that are of this magnitude, he should consult with the board. That's what we made him, not the general manager.
Okay. Discussion, operational changes to the Oasis Pool at Mumford's Landing. Director Stevens, Trendick, Parks, and Jacobs.
I have a motion. Sorry. Don't have.
No.
Never mind, I didn't say anything important.
Yeah.
Stand by.
While Doug is looking for notes, President Herrick, thanks very much for calling this special meeting at the request of 4 directors, one of which was myself. I also would like to thank our homeowners for coming tonight because your presence here validates the reason 4 directors have requested this meeting. I also want to apologize that we have let you down. As Cheryl O'Hara has said, we have signed up for a job that's not always easy, and we're doing the best we can. Having said that, I'm deeply disappointed that we are even faced with this situation. I hope it wasn't intentional, and we are trying now to rectify that. The fact remains that the process was not followed. The discussions should have happened at the board level, at the committee levels, at the community level. And let a lesson be learned from this. This should never happen again. And I hope my colleagues agree, and we will do everything we can individually. And I can certainly commit myself that I will do so, that I will not allow for this to happen again. Management oversight will be discussed, what needs to happen next, in order to make sure the proper actions are taken so that we as a board do not let the community down again. And I'm looking forward to see what my other colleagues have to say. And the discussion will carry on not just tonight, but also into the days to come. Thank you.
guess I should just refrain from any comment until we get into the discussion phase. So I'll just read the motion. That I move that the board direct the interim GM to cancel the proposed Sunday family activities that are scheduled for the Oasis Pool and take no further action on this matter.
I'll second.
I can't tell if I can jump in or not.
Go ahead, Pat.
Go ahead, Pat.
I think I heard the motion correctly. It's to remove Sunday, and there's not an alternative offered for family time. Is that correct? I just want to be sure that I understand the motion.
Stay focused.
That's correct.
And the hours that we're talking about removing are how many hours out of the week? I just want to be sure that I understand that.
What's currently printed in the activities guide is Sunday 2 to 6.
2 to 6. And I think that Brett said at the beginning of the meeting that due to some information sharing with the county, that would be shifted to 4 to something.
4 to 7.
Is that correct?
Point of order. Point of order. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing that has been designated is the event from 2 to 6 on Sunday. Everything else is speculation, has not been discussed, has not been decided. The only thing that's currently on the books, the focus of the motion is to address specifically the intent of having a all ages activity between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. on Sunday at the Oasis.
With no alternative for the family. Okay, got it, Doug. Got it.
Well, I just feel I need to explain how we got to this at all today. And this comes back to what I walked into in September, which everything in this building started on a federal ADA violation in the parking for the, at that time, Yacht Club, now Oasis Pool. And in December of 2015, Ocean Pines went to a mediation settlement for an ADA violation for having handicap access to that pool in general. That was what sparked my first meeting with Jennifer Keener, and I, with Jerry Avetta and DBF, our engineering firm, went to Jennifer and asked what our options were, and it went specifically to parking. Through that conversation, I was informed that there were restrictions on hours of operations to all facilities in the vicinity of the yacht club as part of the certificate of occupancy that was granted on that building and its building permit. Those restrictions were placed on the operation hours of the marina, the yacht club pool, as well as the Mumford's Landing pool in relation to the hours of the building. I brought that information back to the board and had shared that with the board back in September and October. I continued into 2 follow-up meetings with Ed Tudor, and I had asked specifically for the documents that Mr. Maroney referenced here today. And the only document that was produced for me was the document that I shared with you as a board. And we all asked together in discussions on that document what these actual hours were. I could not get the hours produced to me in writing despite the fact that I asked for them. And what was told to me by Ed Tudor was that the hours were restricted to no operation for any facility other than the Yacht Club restaurant beyond 6 p.m. on all related properties. And that was the information that I went into this budget session with and I've had in my hands up until today. And I had been upfront with the board, and I hope no one's going to deny participating in those conversations related to the restrictions of the hours and the zoning variance issues that we had. Am I wrong there? We did all have that conversation? Along with that,
motion and second.
And that's well and good, but it's not part of the background. And in fact, I think Doug Bullock before he had an opportunity to talk to the background on his own motion, which of course should be seen.
It was second.
Motion.
It was second.
Motion was seconded.
And we went to discuss.
Yes, but by rules of order, person making the motion generally gets give background purpose for purpose.
No, Dave.
The background.
Dave was his haste to make sure it got seconded, overlooked requirement to have background. Yeah,
I did.
I think at the risk of, we've been here for quite a while, everybody knows the background. It's been an adults only pool for over 45 years, and as a board, made aware of a proposed fundamental change, hence reasoning to have not only the discussions we had, but the motions come forward this evening.
I'm certainly in favor of the motions presented by Doug Parks. I really have nothing to add to that discussion because it's very obvious the fact that the call for this meeting is the statement of how we feel about the unilateral change that was made by the IGF.
May I ask a question?
No.
I just want to know if this does away with Family Fun Night on Wednesdays? Is that on?
Still in discussion.
It is.
That's not part of the motion. Yeah, let me add one more thing since it's come up several times. And it was just alluded to now. I believe that the reason for doing this is that, as we all know, this has been an adult for a very long time. And that it should not be changed, I believe, without board discussion, board approval, and the input from the community, which of course kind of taking care of itself tonight to a large extent, but not the entire community. It was said that the general manager has the authority to, in a resolution MO2, to make that change unilaterally. They keep saying unilaterally, but if you read MO2, you literally, and you don't know anything about that, you weren't there when it was written, you don't know the history or how it was developed, a logical person could come to that conclusion. But in fact, people who were there when it was written, as I was, just know that MO2 was put together by consolidating several different resolutions that were already in existence. One of those resolutions had to do with scheduling, and I'm talking about hours of operation. And that is sort of embedded in paragraph 13 of MO2. The other had to do with the rules for use of the facility. Now, what's meant by those rules are rules of conduct. In other words, you can't misbehave at school and you have to wear appropriate, or the facility you have to wear appropriate clothing. So it had nothing to do with basic use or changing. It had no ability of the general manager to change the basic nature and the basic purpose and basic use of a facility, such as the Now, that's mistaken how the resolution is written. You know, I've been through these for the last 10 years, reading them over and over again, and there's more mistakes than you can count. But on the other hand, and we fix them as we go along. This is one that I'm going to propose by amending MO2 to make it crystal clear that a major change, such as changing the yacht club pool or Oasis from an house only to a children or seven, I don't care how many hours it is, that requires the approval. It should require it, and if my amendment to the resolution is accepted, it will require it. It'll be clear to all future general managers. Listen, it's not that easy to read these things, and you easily can come away with another impression. So don't get on Brett for doing something, unilaterally, and I'm bizarre, and I know. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm going to vote for this, obviously.
May I jump in? I can't tell if David has finished or.
Yeah, I'm done.
1 minute, Pat. Cheryl's speaking right now. Gotta go.
Oh, okay.
Cheryl, the first to you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, just quickly, Dave, I listened to everything you said, and I certainly respect your opinions and your information on the either MO2 or whichever resolution it is. My only thought in your discussion of that is that, and this is in my mind, David, if this might not be right. All that happened was the hours that were Wednesday night are now Sunday. The actual flavor of the food is not changed. The day had to be shifted because the time didn't work on Wednesday once the county changed or whatever. That's the way I'm seeing it. I'm not seeing it as a big policy. All of a sudden now, the Oasis pool is family friendly half the time, all the time, 3/4 of the time. I see it as a shift from one night to another night. So that's what is in my head.
She doesn't understand.
Pat, if I may. Yeah, sure, I understand that. I just want to clarify that my remarks with regard to MR2 were addressing the argument that has been made, I think, Brett, that Brett had the authority to do that. And I do not believe that was the case, and that was expressing reasons why.
And that's kind of what I was responding to, Dave. I wasn't seeing it as a major policy change. I was seeing it as a shift from one day to another day of family fun night, or family fun day, or whatever it is. I mean, that's in my mind. I can't get there that it's a major policy change for that pool. In which case, I totally defer to your. If I felt like it were a total policy change, I absolutely am right on there with you. I totally get your take on that resolution. So I guess that's just that's up to interpretation. I guess I don't see one day to another as a major policy change.
First of all, I would like to say that I like to thank everybody personally that sent emails, and I apologize for those of you that I did not get to respond to. But quite frankly, they were coming in every 2 or 3 minutes every time I went back to the email. I started to try to respond as many as I could, and then I was like, oh my God, I'll never be able to do this. So first of all, let me say thank you all for sending the emails, because that was certainly a way of expressing your opinions about this, as well as coming tonight. It's clear what the overriding opinion is about the use of the yacht club. I would also like to say that there are not a revolt by 4 directors. There are simply 4 directors who are doing what we believe is our job, what we were elected to do. And I do not like to be characterized as somebody who is revolting simply because we are taking a stand which we believe is in the best interest of the entire community. Of course, you can, I've made my living parsing words. And so I could come up with a different understanding what I think MO2 gives you the ability to do that you might have. That's not the point. The point is it talks about rules. It doesn't talk about policy. Policy clearly comes from the board. And And that is why, rather than getting input from your staff, you should have gotten input from your board. I understand now you are saying that you were unaware that, in fact, the hours at the yacht club, still yacht club to me, sorry, were not 10 to 7. And yet we find, indeed, that the hours have always been 10 to 7. I don't know what you would have asked that you were unable to find that out, but we now know that's the case. We did have family fun nights on Wednesdays at the yacht club pool. It was, however, truly a family affair with hot dogs, hamburgers, Cokes, and chips. It wasn't all about having adults be able to drink. And so I have attended family fun nights on Wednesdays, and it was a very nice thing. And I have never been even given the opportunity to come up with a compromise, because from the time I was told that family fun nights could no longer be held on Wednesday, I said, this doesn't make sense. We have got to be able to go to the county and find some workaround to this. And I was told, no, there's nothing we can do. I've gone, I've been turned down, I've tried things, there's nothing that we can do. And yet, now it turns out all we had to do was ask for a variance, and we could have the family fun nights back on Wednesday evenings the way we always had them. And while I am totally in support of this motion, making clear that this is an adult-only pool, I am totally in favor of a compromise to bring back family fun nights on Wednesday the way we always had them. That's it.
Brett.
Cheryl, what I was trying to get to before we step back on this was that I did go to the county, and the issue might seem as simple as asking for a 1 hour variance for 1 hour of operation. But when we met with the county trying to deal with our ADA compliance issue that I walked into, and then the bombshell of our hour restrictions that none of us on the board were aware of regarding the whole yacht club building, I was also told that before I applied for another variance, we had issues of compliance on the current variance. Every parking spot in that building is too small. We were granted a variance for spots that were 9'9" to 9'6" inches wide. Every one of them is 2 to 3 inches off. And I was told that not only were we going to have to ask for the variance on anything else we want to do in the facility, hours or otherwise, but we would have to then ask for a further variance on spaces, and we were out of line in what we were given. We as Ocean Pines, and before most of us were present on the board, broke an agreement we made with the county when we built the building. We built a building that was too big for the parking lot that's there, the space that's there, and everything the county did to help us out, we went and spit in their face. We ran hours late.
I object.
I've done everything to try and remedy the situation. I did everything to the best of my abilities to try and meet the requirements that the county told me we had to operate within that space. And given that the family fun night times would not work, I took my best judgment and the input from the staff on the time that was there. And last year, a second family fun night was ours, and the second night was taken away from the adults by the previous manager without any issue, input from the board, or anything otherwise. And I went back, and the first email I have in my mailbox from when I came on the board was from a resident, and it said, I wish to thank the board, whoever made the decision to open the Yacht Club Family Swim Night on Monday evenings. It goes on to say, I'm writing in hopes that if the board is presented with a petition from a small minority of swim members to cease the Monday evening family swim, they will decline to do so. It was truly a fun evening for the families who don't get to make use of the facility. And it further adds, I would love for it to continue. Everyone really had a terrific time, and the remaining adults seemed not mine at all. Signed, Elaine Brady. And
Monday.
that was with a second night added and additional hours taken away. I tried with the hours that we had to make the best decision. If it wasn't right, I would want to have the conversation and go to compromise one. But for that, I took action against other people, or that there was any ill will in this. There is none. I tried to make the best use of the circumstances I walked into, and if I upset anyone, I'm sorry. That was not the intention. I tried to do what I saw was best for everyone in the association. If that's wrong, then that's where you as a board are here to support me in finding the right decision.
So while previous events and occurrences are an important reference point, I would like to direct the board's attention back to the matter at hand. We have a motion on the floor to specifically address an issue that's obviously passionate, important, and very staple to what we do here. All right? We can talk about potential compromises, alternatives, other possibilities that would include other nights, additional discussions with the county. That is not what this motion is about. This motion is to make sure that we establish the status of that pool, and to make sure that we, as a board, and let me add one more thing, make sure we have that status set up, get it squared away, get it in concrete, and prevent any other things happening. I think if we go forward with that, we have three things in my opinion. Number one, let's take another look at MO2. We as a board have to step up and take a look at that language and make absolutely certain that we have everything covered with regard to responsibilities having to deal with operational aspects versus policy. Number two, we would be challenged ourselves to make sure that we go back to the county and do due diligence to come up with a reasonable alternative that does not involve the yacht, even I say the yacht club pool, okay, the Oasis pool, whatever you want to call it, the name. Yacht club.
Yacht
We'll talk about that later. The third responsibility we have as a board, a better job communicating with one another. All right, I have not been shy about my opinion. I've shared it with every one of you about what we're not doing well as far as communicating. I've actually given a couple of options on how we can do that better, and I've gotten a somewhat soft response. I think it's time to step up, implement something more formal so that we prevent us from getting in this position again.
Relative specifically to your motion. Your motion talks about eliminating the time on Sunday.
Correct.
There is another published time that has to be dealt with, and that is, as I understand it, because I learned this after the fact, 7 in the morning till 10 in the morning for the pool to be open for members only. I'm understanding that was published, and that's got to be remedied as well, because something, a variance or whatever going, I think, to the county, and that's something that we don't want to be approving in the absence of trying to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish here. Is that correct?
Well, I would apologize for not having all the details associated with that specific event, but I'd certainly think that as a board with the upcoming work session on the 24th and the subsequent board meeting on the 29th, I believe we should tackle that. I would prefer to get this issue straightened out today and take on the additional responsibility that it bestows on us to address the issue that you brought up. So my recommendation would be to bring it up on the agenda at the work session on the 24th, and let's tackle it then.
Cheryl, to be clear on your point, as of today, we are not able to open the pool from 7 to 10 a.m., which was published, and that we just found out today. And well, based on the schedule for applications for variance, the soonest that could be changed is the middle of June. We have missed the deadline to apply to go into a May variance hearing. So the hours are 10 to 7 on that pool, and that's it.
It's always been open 7 to 10 for the members.
But it's not allowed. It's not allowed.
It's always been allowed. Why all of a
All
sudden?
right, order, please. Thank you. Any further discussion? Call the question, all in favor of the motion? All opposed?
We didn't do that.
You got that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Pat.
Yes, Pat, thank you.
How did Pat vote? What was Pat?
What do you think of it? All right, call the adjournment.
Good night.